you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, magic. No, I'm never letting go. Now that I have it with you. When you kiss me, it's like the stars fall out the sky onto my heart to cover up what I don't wanna show. I let you in deeper than I let anyone else before. Filling up with my broken pieces, took them all and made them yours. Didn't know what my heartbeat needed, skipping out, no I can't keep score. When I lose my breath, boy, you got me breathing. Oh, every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Every little thing you do, every time you hold me, take me higher, higher. Oh, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, you take me higher, baby, you take me higher, yeah, you take me higher, baby.
Welcome to Radical Truth to Power, the Progressive News Show with Leslie Esri. I am your host, Marlon Clyburn, along with Tracy Carson, Theus Robinson, and Anna Hart. Today's show, we're just going to be looking at a whole bunch of videos, analyzing it, discussing it, yelling at each other that we're wrong, yelling at each other that I'm right. We're just going to have that type of show. Why? Because it's the last show of the month for me, for us. So we also have the ability to make literally any subject political. So we're not going to miss a beat. Before we get started, hello everybody. Hello Tracy. How's everything going tonight?
Everything is everything.
All righty, Anna.
That is a perfect saying. My mother has said that for many, many years. It's a day. It's almost over.
Yeah. Theus.
Back to work tomorrow.
Not me. I even told them that I wasn't going to I'm not working my birthday weekend. I don't get anything out of doing that. Please hit that like button and share it. Sharing is care. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you're catching up after the live show, please leave a comment. We love the conversation. We really do. And hope that you enjoy. Extra appreciation for supporting us all on Patreon. And Tracy brought this to my attention because I didn't even freaking know. We are 3 subscribers away from 100. We are 3 subscribers away from our very first 100. So get in there, folks. Get in there. We are working hard. Hey, Marlon, Tracy, Anna, and Theus.
Hey,
Hello.
So without further ado, because I got like loads of these videos, let's get this party started. So this first video, the end, how we feel about it is going to be self-explanatory. But I'm just was so. You do realize we can hear you, right? Oh God! See, this is why you eat food that floats. It's softer. The answer that we're gonna give at the end is pretty much gonna be the same. But I'm just dumbfounded by people who have the guts to do this, especially to their own spouse.
But let me explain. In 2019, I could no longer work because of my physical disabilities. No company wanted to hire me for the past couple of years, and my husband said that it's better I just stay home and not worry about working. I agreed, and he's become the breadwinner. Then, it's like a switch that flipped, because chores were 50-50, but after I lost my job, they became 100% on me. Keep in mind my physical disabilities I developed. His excuse for not doing anything to help is that I stay at home 24/7. I told him that's not fair, especially since I suffered from physical discomfort. He made a deal with me and promised that everything will be 50-50 once I start working again. I told him I would find a job, and he laughed and said, "Good luck." I remember this vividly because of the strange laugh that I never heard him laugh before. I started looking for a job again for months, but had no luck till my friend's husband found me a potential job at a company that would have me work from home due to physical strains. I was so excited and felt like I'm capable again despite the struggle. They scheduled an interview with me, and when I told my husband, he looked red in the face but said nothing. 2 days ago, I found out that my job interview was canceled. I found out when my friend reached out to ask why I did that, but I said I had no idea. I checked my email and found nothing because I didn't send anything to the company. My husband came home and admitted to canceling the interview. I asked why, and he said that, "This job has lots of requirements, and you don't seem fit to be accepted there. So to spare you the heartache of being rejected, I just canceled the interview." I flipped out on him and told him he destroyed my one and only chance at landing a job. But he said he was just feeling concerned about my well-being. I told him he probably didn't want me to work because he didn't want to split the house chores, and he seemed offended by that. He threw a fit at how unreasonable and selfish I was to even consider a job without speaking to him first. I told him I don't get involved in his work life. He called me horrible for accusing him of bad intention, and then went out to meet his friends, probably to vent, because one of them told me that my husband is looking out for me, but I was being cruel by yelling at him. He has been cold shouldering me since then, deleted my social media accounts, claiming that they're bad for my mental health because of the negative effect some of these platforms have. Am I the jerk for yelling?
I'll let everybody else go first. You're still muted, Theus.
This is ableism at its finest.
Ableism,
And other things, yes.
just abuse. There's a lot of stuff going on here.
He canceled the interview?
Yeah, because he likes having control over her.
Yeah, get away from
Girl,
this.
go leave this sucker. Leave him. This is grounds for divorce. Yeah, I know divorce is not always good, but this right here,
Hey, Parker.
this right here, hey Parker, this right here,
Hey, Parker.
oh no, you leave this sucker. He gonna start telling you what to wear, what you can eat, what you can't eat. No, leave now, leave.
Tracy, one day you'll say that divorce is not an option, and then as soon as it's the woman that's not in a good position,
No,
it's leave that man.
If they one was doing this,
I agree she
trust
should
me,
leave him, but
trust me, I would tell him to leave her. Trust and
I've
believe.
not heard you.
The
in a
situation
marriage
hasn't
situation.
presented itself in that way.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, I agree. This is not a good place for her. He might have started off being a good person, but once that power dynamic shifted, he became abusive. Like it's just what it is.
He
He
canceled
resents
the
he
interview.
resents her. I mean, she did what he told her to do, right? Go
Get a
get a
job.
job and we'll go back to how things used to be. And then she goes and has an opportunity to get a job and he's like, "But I don't want you to go through whatever you're going to go through trying to work. So I'd rather you not work. But I'm not happy not working either." Well, that ain't my problem. My problem is I don't want you to go out there and not be happy. It's just mental games. He's selfish. He may not have true negative or mean intent, but it manifests in an abusive way. So
It's this was the quickest I ever seen something. Where they always say, if you let them do this, they're gonna do this. It's gonna get worse. It is gonna. This was the quickest worst I ever saw, or get worse that I ever saw. Because you literally went from telling her, "I canceled your job interview," after you pretty much mocked her, and I'm gonna call it mocked. Good luck. So that automatically tells me you didn't have any faith that she was going to be able to get another job. Then when she goes and gets an interview, you was determined that she wasn't going to get it. And I guarantee you, the guy never even looked the freaking job up for you to even say, well, they have some things that you may need to do that I think is too much for the... Dude, you probably have no idea what the job was. But the
He
worst
blocked
was
her
that then you turn
social
around and
media.
go, I want you to cancel all your social media. Man,
No, he canceled it. He canceled her social media. She didn't. He did.
dude, this is flat out beyond a shadow of a doubt controlling. You canceled the social media because you went on social media and these people couldn't believe the story that you was telling them and probably was saying the same thing Tracy is. You need to get out of this. So you, oh, no, gotta cancel this, buddy. I don't need no outside perspective because obviously common sense is not going to change my mind. So, nope. Yeah, you're the a-hole, dude. I mean, she's not the a-hole. He is. And it kills me on some of these stories where there's clear signs of abuse. There's clear signs of mental abuse. And your only reasoning for asking, so you say, is I yelled at them. Yeah. You kind of should have. You kind of should still be doing it till you get the job back. At least the interview back. Oh, yeah.
how do you get that interview back? I
I
wouldn't
You
don't
let you
know.
come
can't.
back for an interview.
I honestly have no idea. I
There's
don't
nothing that she can
know.
do or say because if she calls and says, "Well, my husband," that's gonna be an employer of like problem number one.
Yeah, because they don't want to deal with that. They're not going to want to deal with it. You ain't even get through the interview. You think we want to deal with your husband if you actually get the job? No, no.
And this is like a family friend, you know?
Yeah, so it's on her too because it made her look bad. Like, why would you introduce us to somebody who had no desire to actually go through with the interview? That's a bad mark on your friend. But she cares. Husband absolutely don't care.
Now,
So
like I said, husband's classic control freak.
yeah, that's
Girl,
terrible.
leave him. Leave
She gonna
him.
live in mental and emotional anguish for as long as she's with him.
And even when I'm telling you now, when it's time to leave him, get ready for the cluster F of gaslighting you have ever heard.
Change your phone number. Block him. Don't tell him where you're moving. Move in the middle of the night. No, move while he's gone to work. Leave the keys. Just go.
Yeah, but when you have mobility or health issues,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
was about
quite
to
that
say
easy.
that. It's hard to move If you have to switch jobs, because I think the job was saying that she could work from home, so she didn't even have to come in. So yeah, it's not as easy as up the leave.
But she does need to find a
but
way out.
but I'm
But
about to
it's
say,
not going to be
but
easy.
because I'm saying it's not easy doesn't mean it don't still need to be done. It may take a little longer because of the situation that you're in, but that don't mean you stay in it, because this ain't gonna get any better. It literally is. It
No,
literally is going to get worse, because that was a test. That was a test right there that he is capable of doing the stuff that he wants to do to control you. Soon and very soon, it's going to turn around to: do you really have to speak to your mama and daddy every day? Do you really got to have those kinds of friends? I think they're a bad influence on you.
You could do so much better than them.
Yeah,
Why don't you
and
just
then
have my friends? Blah 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 blah. No, no, he'll be the type that's jealous.
get ready for him to show up broken into the house, standing in your room holding balloons. I know. Oh.
Yeah, he's doing yesterday's
You
show.
talking about yesterday? I'm about to say.
no, but I mean, really, this is, how things end up becoming violent. Um, and there's no real remedy for domestic violence, people, especially when you have health or physical issues, because you can't just up and go. That's one. He's the one with the job, so that means that whatever her physical issues are, his insurance is what's providing that care.
He don't want to lose that
Um,
power.
and then on top of that, like when you go to the police won't do anything until he actually physically harms you. And
Right.
then by that time, it's already too late, because the worst they're going to do is put a restraining order on him or tell him he has to leave the home. Well, then he leaves the home and he just terrorizes you from a distance and shuts off the insurance and like all these things. The power still lies in the hand of the abuser. So this person's in a catch 22, and there's really no help. So hopefully she has family she can run to, but I'd be willing to bet she feels completely isolated, and that's
He's
how he wants it.
Yep, he's probably isolated her from everybody.
Now
I'm surprised she had a friend.
I got to ask this question though, and I'm not saying that this in all situations, but could there have already been signs of this, even a tidbit of signs of this before marriage, or is it literally the light switch just switches now that
Not
I'm
necessarily.
married to you?
There was a power thing that changed. He might have been a perfectly wonderful person, like just really good for her. But when that power dynamic shifted and he got a taste of being the one in control, something in him could have clicked. And now he's
You know,
manipulative and controlling and all that. But there could very well have been zero signs beforehand.
all right.
That's
Let's,
just my opinion. But
no, I believe you.
Or he could have been so good at hiding them.
I think we give people a lot more credit than they're due for being able to hide who they are. Now you're right, Tracy. There are people who are like sociopaths, and they
Yeah,
literally can hide in plain
Can
sight.
hide it. He was like,
Um,
where did that come from? And it was like that.
but more often than not, I think people are just people, and as life throws curves and everything, whatever's happening in your life is complicated, right? Well, whatever's happening in the other person's life is complicated too. And we don't see all the variables that are hitting each other at any given time. So he could be reacting to his own set of stimuli. And now it starts to manifest where he can lash out because there's a power deficit here. So, it's kind of
And
like
you
you have a person who seems to be relatively normal, but then they get a promotion on the job and all of a sudden they're crazy, or
yeah.
they go out and they be on part of the HOA and all of a sudden they're coming and measuring your grass with a ruler, right? But they were normal 2 months ago. So it's just weird. People are weird.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next story. It is titled "Husband Wants $14,000 from his wife."
I, female 36, have been married to my husband, who's 42, for 2 years. I've never been married before him, but he was married twice and has 6 kids. He requested our finances to be split. Fine by me, because seeing how he blows through his money is so frustrating. He says he has kids, commitments, and has to provide, but I don't think that kids would need that much money to live like the other kids. His bank account is almost always empty, whilst mine has over $20,000 in it. We take turns paying for daily expenses and stuff. Lately, he's been struggling with money. He borrowed from a number of people, including my own brother, about $4,000 from him just a week ago. He just seemed desperate for money. I asked what the deal was, and he said that he needed the money for the kids, which seemed fishy since kids don't really need that much money for their expenses. The eldest is 16. He came and asked to borrow $14,000 from me, pull it from my account and into his. I tried asking him what he needed the money for, but he said it was none of my business, then insisted that he'll return it ASAP. I said okay, but under the condition that he sign a contract stating he'll return the money in full. He acted all shocked and offended, then went on about how I don't trust him and his word. I told him that's all I got and this was my one and only condition. He kept ranting about how I'm refusing to help and making the situation more difficult for him instead of cooperating. I insisted on a contract to be signed before he even pulls a penny, and this morning when I told him this one more time, he blew up and said that we're family and that I should be ashamed for involving courts and lawyers between family. He left the house and was so upset he hasn't responded to any of my calls yet. Am I the jerk for standing my ground with this condition? Update. So we talked after he got home, and when I tried pressing him to tell me what he needs the money for, he gave me the same attitude and said, I don't have to worry about it. I still stood by the condition I made, and he called me useless, then stormed off to spend the night with or at God knows who.
Oh, let that trifling man go.
I get the most entertainment out of the facial expressions of Anna. And I knew the statement that was said that was going to rile her up. And the statement of, I need $14,000. Why do you need $14,000? It's none of your
None of
business.
your business, huh?
Yeah, it actually is. It actually is my business now. It literally is all my business. Completely my business. All of $14,000 worth of business.
I mean, you can't go to the bank and be like, hey, I need to borrow $30,000. Why? Oh, that's none of your business.
No, none of your business. They gonna laugh in your face.
Oh. It ain't none of our business. Okay. Security.
And you know he's bad with money. His bank account always empty. And he gonna ask to borrow how much? Boy,
That sounds like gambling, Dad.
That's what I thought. I
Because
thought I was only
$14,000 is such an arbitrary number. Not 15, not 10, $14,000.
Or 20. 14.
Yeah, or 20. You went straight to $14,000. That's.
But he borrowed $4,000 from the brother-in-law, so that's 18.
You know what? Foxy had a good point. It could be child support.
14.
It could be. Because if he running behind him like that, he ain't spending money where he needs to.
Yeah. $14,000 would fit in
but
there.
But he could have told her, hey, this is for back child support. He had to say none of your business.
That's an ego thing right now.
Well, he couldn't say it was back child support because he's been using all along. The reason he doesn't have any money is because he's paying child support. So if you've been paying it all along and that's why you don't have any money, how do you then create $14,000 worth of arrears? That doesn't add up.
Marlon's first one, he got a gambling problem.
I mean, it could be a gambling problem. But if it's the child support, like Diz was saying, you don't want to say it's for child support because then the next question out of your mouth is, how the hell did you get $14,000 behind in child support? Where is your money going?
Gambling.
be honest with you, probably a little A, could be both.
A and B.
It could be A and B. The
But
$4,000 could have been
Hey,
gambling. The
Marlon.
$14,000
Hey,
could be
Marlon.
child support and vice versa.
Hey, Marlon, can I borrow $20,000 for what? None of your business. What?
And by the way, lady, I'm sorry. You wanted to sign a contract and everything else. You can sign a contract all you want to. This dude had there was nothing in him that's going to say he was going to pay you back whether you had a contract or not.
That wasn't her reason for doing the contract.
Nope.
What was the contract for?
Because the reality of it is, once you give money to your spouse, I don't give a damn what you wrote down. You ain't getting that back. So
that's what I mean. I was like,
so what was her reason for writing the contract?
Her reason was basically just to kind of hold him accountable on some level, right? Because he's already showing that he may be in trouble and he's not sharing with her what the trouble is. But I need you to know this isn't just me giving you some money. This is you're making a commitment back to me that you're actually going to give me this money back, right? May not be worth the paper it's written on, but the point is I'm making you sign it. It's kind of like you do with your children, right? Which is where it could be insulting to him, right? Because this is what you do with your children. I need you to write down that you're going to pay me back this $200 and you're going to pay me $25 a week until it's done, right? That's what you do with your kids. And he probably was like, well, I ain't your child. But the thing is, you're acting like one. So here we go.
It's none of your business.
You know, because the alternative is you just don't get nothing. Now, you can't give me the conditions when you're trying to get my money.
I'm good for it. No, you're not good for it. You ain't got no money in your account. You not good for it.
I can't get over that. It's not your business.
You should trust me.
I don't trust you.
Oh, and that's the funny thing is because then I have questions. Trust you on what? What am I trusting you on?
That you
no,
gonna
that's what I'm saying.
Back?
He was
you
saying
even paid my brother back for $4,000 last week.
So, he's saying you should trust my word, but I'm like, your word has come back void on a couple of people so far.
Thank you.
So what makes me different, right? Because if it was a matter of you would never not pay me back, then I would have been the first person you came to. But I'm not the first person. I'm the second, third, or fourth person. So if you haven't paid all the people ahead of me back, why would you pay me back now? Like this isn't how that math works, right? If you had come to me first, then you might have been to play that card. Hey, baby, I need this. I got to do something. Don't ask me why right now. It's really serious. I promise I'll tell you in time. But right now, I just need it. And if you were the first person that he came to, then maybe you would have been like, this doesn't feel right. I wish you would tell me what is going on. But I'm going to trust you this time. Just make sure you give me the money back because we really need to have this money. And then he would have screwed you over, but you would have been first in line.
Yeah, you just would have been first in line.
He ain't paying nobody.
He's hiding something. He is hiding
literally,
something.
I can give him the one benefit of a doubt that he does pay everybody back, and that was what the money was for.
But you don't.
But that's not paying people back.
But you don't borrow money to pay back people that you borrow money from.
He was going to pay. He could have took the $14,000 and paid all those other people back. But that was it. That wasn't. We're still stuck on the. Yeah, thank you for paying my debt off. Well, can I get my $14? Can I get my money back? Can I get my $14,000?
It's gonna take me some time to put that together, baby.
Yeah. It's going.
Yeah, I gotta borrow it from 7 more idiots.
I paid your brother back with my money.
With the money that you
No, I paid my brother back.
Yeah. Money, bro. The only thing you can say you paid my brother back is you physically gave him the money, but you didn't pay my brother back.
Not to change up the situation though. But what if she was dumb enough? Thank goodness she wasn't to have a joint account. Oh my goodness, that money would have been gone.
And this was so funny, but whose idea?
But would it have been dumb?
Was, though? Guess whose idea was?
It was his idea.
So yeah.
But I'm just thinking, thank goodness she didn't have a joint account.
If they had a joint account, that money would have been gone.
He already would have bled that money out.
Yeah. All that $20,000 would have been gone.
Yeah,
it never would have been there.
And I don't know
That money
if
had
he
been gone
knew,
6 months after they got married.
and I don't know if he knew how much the woman had. I don't know. She never said it is that he does or not. But let's take this one step further for the fact that let's say he did know that she has $20,000. Do you ask for over half of her money?
That's 80%. No, 60
That's how
women.
spenders are. You gotta understand, people who have bad financial behaviors and are spenders, they always think that they're just one big break away from making it all work out, even though they're always wrong. This is how you end up with people who got bad personal credit and then turn around and use their kids to keep the lights on. So now when the kid turned 18, he got bad credit too, right? I'm like, if you couldn't manage your credit, you sure enough can't manage somebody else's credit.
Oh,
But in their mind, now I know what to do and I'll do it better. And blah, blah, blah. And they rationalize and lie to themselves and end up just tearing everybody else up. Happens all the time.
Theus, you just put my whole childhood on blast. I'm like, you didn't have to go to that card.
Do it all the time.
It's a lot of people's card,
There's a
unfortunately.
lot of people. There's a lot of people's
You
cards.
21, you move out, you have a cable bill in your name. 1983, I was 9. How am I going to have a bill in my name? I'm 9.
Yep.
You didn't have to go to that
You done had
card.
a lot of people, Tracy, who, and I know for a fact, again, grew up in the hood. The kids knew it, and they will be proud of it. The electric bill is in my name, and the cable bill is in my sister's name, and the gas bill is in my brother's name.
Don't do that to y'all kids. Don't do that to your
Now,
kids.
I'm gonna speak on this on a couple of levels. I used to work in the bank and I would see on occasion when those young people would come in and get their first checking account and they can't have one because they already owe the bank money and they're 17 years old. Right? So yeah, parents, don't do that. Now, to qualify my statement, it does not make it right, and I still say don't do it. But it's really hard for me to go too rough at people who are in survival mode.
That's true
So
too.
if you are working 2 jobs, you barely making ends meet, because you're working 2 jobs, neither one of them got you working enough hours that you get benefits. If you do have benefits, you can't afford to use them. It's real expensive being poor. Like that's the bottom line. Being poor is super expensive. So you end up doing things that you shouldn't do, but you got bad option and worse option. Like those are your choices, you know? Me on a daily basis, I have good option, better option. But some people are in a world where they got bad option, worse option. And it's not hard to imagine how you could find yourself where, all right, I shouldn't put it in my kid's name, but I kind of want my kid to have hot water. All right. And then you just circling the drain. Just circling the drain.
And utility companies, it's not like they do a background check and ask for, like, I don't know, a social security number or anything.
They do. They just use their kid's social.
But when they find out, like, by running it, that child isn't 18 or above.
No,
they're not really running anything
they're
because they're
running
public.
it to see.
That's where these people really.
Yeah, they're running it to see if that social security number ever came up in their database before.
Is it a valid number?
Is it a valid number? Does it have anything attached to it? If that social security number comes up on the system that says this is a new number we've never had before, ching ching. No, they're not going to do a background check of how old is this social security number. All their
now, I imagine at this point, business. It's harder to get away with that than it used to be.
Now.
Yeah, because they,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a lot harder now. Now I'm pretty sure they probably do a soft credit report, I should say. Maybe.
Yeah. But still at the same time, it's like America is really, really rough on you if you're poor. And like I'll put it this way, and this isn't it's just a made up example, but I'm positive it's a real example. You are raising your grandchildren. Is your child who had the child is in jail, on drugs, disappeared, whatever the reason is. You're raising your grandchild. You're up in age. You have health conditions. You've probably already retired. So your income is limited to your Social Security. Well, if you had a working class job your whole life, your Social Security is less than $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
So now you also are on government benefits. So your total take home money in a month might be somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,100 to $1,200 for the entire month, and you're trying to raise a child. It is not hard to me to see where you end up having to do some things that you never would have done in your younger years. But the alternative is food, shelter, utilities, right?
Yeah.
And it's sad. And let you have a disability on top of that. Oh, goodness, no. Right? Because now you can't even make any income. Because they're watching that.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yep, it's just like people that carry children on their tax return, knowing good and well them are not your children. Why are you putting them on your tax return?
More money.
Yeah, I had family members in the past that would get mad at me because I would tell them straight up, if you want me to put your child on my tax returns, I'm taking the child.
Thank you.
I ain't playing that game.
That's
Give
exactly
me the kid.
it.
Give
I'll
me the
raise
kid.
the child.
When you're ready to have the child back, let me know. I'll give him back. Right? I'm not taking your child from you. But what I'm not gonna do is pretend like I've been taking care of this little kid all year just to take half of a what do you call that thing? A credit?
Earned income tax
Yeah,
credit.
Right?
it's
So
$1,500.
I get an extra
to get $500.
Yeah, I get an extra $500 to $1,000 because you got one too many kids to claim on your taxes. But then I get audited.
Yeah, I'm like, you're not putting me in jail.
Now
Give me the child. Let me take care of the
I'm
child.
out thousands of dollars. No,
Because the
we're not
IRS,
doing
they
that.
will come and get you. Ask
And they like to come
anybody.
get broke folks.
Oh yeah,
They
The
sure
broke
do.
folks
it's
can't afford a
easier.
lawyer. Yep.
Do you not have to show identification for the child when you sign up for a bank account or a cable bill?
Not you didn't. You didn't used to.
I can't speak on the bank account. I'll let Theas take care of that. The cable bill, no, because
Nope.
you got to realize that, Parker, in those days we was calling in.
And you
We
still
was doing all of this stuff over the phone. You call in, you give the information, you give the fake Social Security number. The next thing you know, they come in and setting up your cable. That was it.
Yeah, and for bank accounts, no, you can't open a checking account without something. But what they would do is you can open a savings account for a minor, right? There's no real documentation needed other than a birth certificate and maybe a Social Security card. Kid ain't even got to be there. So the parent will open the savings account and then use that to help funnel money around, right? A huge part of the American population, this knows no color, this is all about economic status, is what they call unbankable. These are people who either they don't make enough money to be able to sustain a checking account, or they live so close to the wire that they've already done bad on a couple of checking accounts. These people can't get the bank account. So now the only way to get their money is to go to like check cashing places, payroll advance places, things like that. So you're literally paying a poor tax because you can't afford to be in a traditional bank account. It is horrible, horrible.
And on Parker's last comment, Paris is still burning.
It sure is. They burned that place down.
Yeah, I'm not even, I don't care.
Moving on to the next.
It's like Paris is throwing a fit. Now, I'm not saying their grievances aren't whatever, but they're mad because they're talking about raising the retirement age from 65 to 67 or something thereabouts.
62 to 64, I think.
Okay, so they're back there. Oh, come on now. But the fact is they are heavily taxed already, but they're heavily taxed because they have a very strong social safety net. So they want the benefits of this safety net, but they want it to remain static. And the problem is that's not reality. And we deal with that here. People want all the benefits, but they don't want to pay any of the cost. So if the math was run on this population size with this gross domestic product, and we chart out the taxes so that the money is funding the different things, that math is only good for like 1 to 2 to 3 years. That math gets out of whack really, really fast. And America is about to run into this as well. What makes it so bad here in America is we don't have any good faith actors. Both parties are just directly just lying and manipulating the American public. Social Security, that should be completely revamped. It really should be, because it was built off of the baby boom, where you had more people who would be coming into the workforce than you had retiring out of the workforce. We are now in an inverse situation where more people are retiring out than are working and putting money in. So the math just doesn't math. But what's happening here in America, because I'm not worried about what they're doing over there, because they ain't worried about what's happening for us. But over here, we're going to run into this. It's gonna you're right? It's coming. But like the Republicans are just lying, right? Republicans are saying, oh, no, we need to do all this austerity and all this stuff and raise the retirement age, get rid of Social Security because it's going to be insolvent. No. One part of the Social Security funding source is set to become insolvent, but that's because Congress keeps borrowing out of the Social Security fund and has weakened it over time so that it's been aging faster than it was supposed to. That's one. And then two, you want to do all of these things to affect Social Security benefits to working class and lower working class people, but you don't want to do anything to have shared sacrifice by those who are earning at the higher tier. In fact, they're so bold as to say the people who make a lot of money, because you can make a certain amount of money and then you stop having to pay. Once you hit a certain point, you ain't got to pay Social Security tax no more. You pay up to that point and then the rest of it is just yours. They're so bold as to say, well, we need to make sure that it doesn't matter how much money you make, you should still get these benefits. There's a case for that, but the only way you can make that case, in my opinion, is you have to broaden this thing all the way out. And that's where I feel like we were moving towards, what do you call it, Tracy? Minimum income.
Universal basic income?
Yeah. Where I don't care how much money you make. You can make $3 million a year and you can make $30,000 a year. Everybody gets $2,000 a month. But the only way that can work is everybody has to pay their taxes. So you have to fix the tax code, right? So you can cut out all the games that get played. So it's easier to get the money in. And then you can do the universal income. I don't agree with the Democratic side who would say, well, whoa, if you're making $500,000 a year, you don't need the minimum income. Who cares? Give them the money. Give them the money. I don't care. They got a pulse and they're a U.S. citizen. Give them the money. And then let's make this thing happen. Because we got a problem coming. We got a real big problem coming.
And he just went serious, and this was supposed to be the light day.
I'm sorry.
That was light. All right, let's move on to the next video. Disrespectful sister.
So I, female 23, am a full-time college student. Right now, I'm living with my sister, Claire, and her husband, Thomas, while I get through my current semester. I don't work, so I don't have everything I need for my daily skin and hair routine, so I borrow stuff from Claire. Claire didn't have an issue in the beginning, but then started complaining about me randomly walking into her room, but I go in there looking for the stuff that I asked for. She gave me a hard time just because I walked in on Thomas getting dressed to get the eyeshadow I borrowed from her. And then that other time when I walked in late at night. She told me I needed to get her permission to enter the room before I take anything, but I figured this would make things complicated. It's already difficult enough that I have to ask to borrow an item. So last night around 10 p.m., I went upstairs and into her room to grab the hairdryer. I walked in and whoops, I saw them doing the do. I had no idea that's what they were doing in there, especially since Claire told me that Thomas had been feeling sick the past 2 days. She lashed out at me, yelling that I get out. I quickly grabbed the hairdryer, then walked out and shut the door. Had to have that hairdryer, didn't you? Minutes later, she came downstairs in her robe and went off on me, saying she was done with me, repeatedly disrespecting and violating her and her husband's privacy. I told her it was cool, no big deal, and that I needed the hairdryer, but I didn't have time to ask for permission. She got even louder, saying I had no business barging into her marital space and embarrassing her and her husband like this. I told her that I was sorry, but she really is overreacting to the whole thing. This made her even more upset. She went on about how I'm living here rent-free and yet not being respectable enough. I stopped arguing and went to my room. This morning, Thomas left the house early and Claire ignored me at breakfast, still upset, saying that I don't get to say whether she overreacted or not and that my behavior was inappropriate. She even wants me to apologize to her husband for making last night awkward.
She's not serious, is she?
I can't even take this video serious.
Because you can't believe somebody is just that clueless.
No, I just know that the whole storyline is stupid and contrived and stupid. It's a stupid sandwich.
Stupid, contrived, and stupid.
It's a stupid sandwich.
She can't be serious though. She's living, girl. What did you think? What's wrong with people?
I had no idea what they were doing in there. Yeah.
And sometimes people have quiet sex. You don't know what they're doing.
But it's
and
not,
you don't need to.
You don't need to, but you can still have the decency to, I don't know, knock on the door. That, you know.
I get it. I really do.
Anybody consider the fact that maybe she might need to get something and then she'll come in there and have to see something so grotesque? I mean, that was very rude of them.
Yeah, how dare they spend time together as a couple? It's their fault.
I still like the
part. I agree. There you go, Tracy. See, we're on the same page.
That's why she went on and just continued to grab the hairdryer and got out.
Well, they got the
hairdryer. He was already there. He was already there.
She still went and got her hair dry, even after she realized what was going on. She did not immediately leave. She still went
and got the hair dryer. Girl, use a towel.
I can't believe that she's that deaf and blind. She has no respect for her sister's privacy or her things. That's the rock bottom least she could do.
She definitely didn't have any respect for one of their things.
Oh boy! You know what? Girl doesn't do that Pepine thing anymore after jokes.
Do I still have that thing? Yeah, I do still have that thing. I rarely use it. I also rarely uses this.
Well played, Marlon.
Oh, I'm glad y'all forgot to ask me. Now, here's the deal. This guy that I listen to now, I really enjoy his stuff because he actually reads the Reddit stories, but he also reads the Reddit replies to the story. I just want to play this one reply to this same story. And the person literally started off by saying, no, the sister is not the a-hole.
Not the jerk. People really do overreact about you have to knock first. If you're talking to your kid, okay. But you don't talk that way to a grown adult. We aren't students in school who need permission to go to the bathroom. And these idiots should have had their door locked, so that's on them. I have a sister who also was a total drama queen with this kind of stuff. Long story short, after years of her overreacting to things I did, I finally gave her something to overreact about, which resulted in her divorcing her husband. Then he tried to get with me, but I wasn't interested. Told him our fling was just a way I could get back at my sister for everything she had put me through. I don't know if Thomas is hot or not, but you might want to consider this, as I guarantee your sister would be getting a taste of her own medicine. One thing I found in my 26 years of life is there's no better way to get revenge on a bad woman than to hook up with her hubby. I know that makes me sound like a total jerk, but after everything I've been through, I think I deserve to be a jerk sometimes.
People like that, I just wish bad things for.
So what the bleep is wrong with her?
Because those are the people who think that they're always the victim in every story that could ever be.
She slept with the sister's husband? What?
Because her sister wasn't being nice to her.
And that was her revenge. That was the revenge.
That's how people are. There are people who are just they're that dark.
When you gone your whole life literally feeling like you don't do wrong, no matter how many people have told you that you're wrong, no matter how many people that you respect or don't respect or whatever, all telling you wrong, you will still keep doing it until you get the one person that says you was right. And you put that right person up on the pedestal and you'll continue doing all the wrong that you've been doing. And then it gets a little worse, Tracy, because after a while, just like her, she don't care if she did wrong. Yeah, I did wrong. But this will show you not to mess with me.
That's like the people that you see on social media that like to brag about being with somebody else's man.
You got people who literally sit there and say, I only date married men or I only date married women. I don't want to date single. Parker said, no, I should have known when the first video trailed off and he didn't finish the sentence completely. No, this story done turned.
I think you mean took a turn.
Oh, took a turn. Okay. Many years ago, I rented a room a few times, had a separate bedroom and a full guest bathroom. None of them were permitted to come into my room, and I never went into theirs without permission.
Permission.
That's norm, and we know that as the norm.
You just gonna walk in.
There are some people who
that's a sister.
Yeah, but thank you, because I'm the sister.
I don't care if you the mother. If my door is closed, you better knock.
And there's some mother who think the same way. There's some mothers who feel like I got a story that I'll share one day where the mother moved in for 2 weeks on vacation with the son and the sister-in-law and decided to rearrange the whole damn house.
Now, Marla, stop telling your mother like that.
Well, my mother-in-law would never do something like that. I ain't got to worry about that. And my mother definitely wouldn't do it. But no. As a matter of fact, my mom ain't gonna move. Nah, she ain't gonna do that. WTF, I've honestly never heard that before. I only date married men. Yeah. Yes.
You got to be a low down piece of crap.
There are men and women who flat out say I only date married men / married women.
He has a commitment and he's going off on his commitment, and then you help it up. Nah, you just
they don't want. That's because, and this is what I have tried to get across people in the past. The side dude, and mainly it's the side dude, he don't want a promotion. Okay.
Basically.
The job he applied for was, I will be your physical relief. I'm out here to do this thing with you. I like the edge. I like the danger. I like knowing that I got over on somebody else, and I like playing with you, right? But this relationship is only good. This part is never said to you, ladies, but you got to understand this. This relationship is only good so long as you have him.
Yeah.
Because the moment you break up with him, you have also broken up with me. Because I don't want to deal with your attitude, your personality, your needs, your wants. I don't want all that. No, I don't want none of it. And unfortunately, women sometimes get sucked into that, and they think, oh, well, I got this over here, so if this don't work out, ultimately, I got my fallback. Your fallback gonna fall off immediately, you know. And then guys on the other side, I mean, yeah, the girls on the other side, where they're being like the other woman, sometimes they're operating that exact same way, or sometimes for some weird reason, they think that if it doesn't ultimately work out with his main girl, you'll get promoted. And the thing is, he ain't gonna choose you because he knows he can't trust you. He knows you're a cheater.
Or if he does, he'll
Yeah,
just
see how
cheat on you
dumb
with
that
somebody
sounds?
else.
But we
Right,
can
but
still
you're a
use,
cheater though.
but we
You're
can
a
still
cheater.
use
See, the
that
girl I'm cheating
analogy.
on ain't a cheater.
But we can still use the analogy of what you was the working class. Okay, you do get promoted. I'm talking to the women who only date married men. And you get promoted. He leaves his wife or whatever, and he gets with you and he's serious with you. This is what you don't think about. Remember how if somebody gets promoted, now that person position has to be filled?
Yep, create a vacancy.
And
You created, you
yeah.
don't think he's gonna fulfill he's gonna fill that vacancy?
No, because you think you're more than enough. See, that's the thing.
Nah,
And
no.
that's where people get themselves stuck in these weird things. And see, I can't stand liars and cheaters. Like, I really can't. I have no compassion for you. Whatever happens to you, and I don't give a damn. Like, you cheating on your old lady or you cheating on your old man, and then something goes sideways and you get shot down in the streets because of it. Too bad. I don't care. Oh well, because I don't like cheaters. I just don't like them. They really, really bother me on a whole deep level. Because I'm like, you don't want to be with somebody, just leave them.
Thank you. Just leave them.
You're gonna hurt them either way, but you're gonna hurt them even more by playing this game behind their back. Right? And then you never know how somebody's gonna react emotionally. You pushing somebody into a corner where their reaction is gonna be an emotional reaction. And that person who's normally low key and docile, you don't have to be tough to pull a trigger. Right? So it's like, just people need to think things forward, man. Like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. You playing with other people. You playing with a real person's emotions, and for what?
Yeah.
For what?
Nothing. Marlon, you said it best. If he leaves you, if he's cheating on you with you on his wife, and he leaves his wife for you, guess what he's gonna do to you?
And he may not. There are cheaters who stop cheating, right?
That's few and far
But
between.
it
That
won't be
is
up to
so few and
you.
far between.
I mean, I
I
agree
don't
with
know.
you that
I don't
not
know how few and
everybody,
far.
but I have
I don't know how
in my
few and far
lifetime.
between it is.
In my lifetime, is few and far between. Now, I'm not saying that I have not seen it happen, because I literally have seen the mistress becoming the wife, and the wife then happily ever after, and so on and so forth. But I could probably count on one hand how many times that doesn't happen.
No, I agree, because the problem that you find with a cheater is that's their coping mechanism. That's their process. So when they could be fully engaged with you, have zero interest in cheating. They done hung up their player cap, all that stuff, right? But when that relationship goes through that really dark cycle, because every relationship is cyclical, you're gonna have ups and you're gonna have downs. Well, if you hit a bad enough down, that person's way of dealing with a down is to find another person. So that's that's why I don't like cheaters, because I don't believe that a person really ever stops being a cheater. But I've heard that it's the case, and I've seen it. I've seen guys who used to run the streets and everything that had a hole, they wanted to play in it and all of that. And then they find that one and they're in love and they would never do nothing and they are 100% 10 toes down for their partner. I've seen it, but I always wonder if the right or wrong circumstances came about, that behavior is still there.
Well, that is our first hour of the show. If you're new to the show, our first hour, we stay on subject, which we never really actually stay on subject, but we will always take a 3-minute break to reboot and refresh. So the first hour is over. We'll run it into the second hour with Am I the A-hole? The returning real or nah, and of course, Foxy's videos of the week. Stay tuned.
Forever.
Welcome back to the second hour. Before we even get started, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/a better Tracy media page. Help support Tracy at all of her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/complex mind. Help support Theas at all of his endeavors. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/radical truth to power, exactly where it's spelled, capital R, capital T, capital T, capital P. Help support me in all of my endeavors. Please do not forget to go to Etta Hart's website, borrelia.etc.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. And as always, if you want to drop me a line or a Mafia video of the week, you can do that at radtp@outlook.com. That's radtp@outlook.com. And of course, that was the best I've ever done, and I'll probably never repeat that until whenever, but I'll take it for now. Am I the a-hole? And I'll be totally honest with you when it comes to this video. It isn't that me and Foxy, this is one of the videos that we have a disagreement on, but we have a disagreement on a very small portion of the video. And it's basically, and I'll even give you the heads up so you can think about it while the video is going on. It isn't about what was said. It was more or less when it was said.
Am I the jerk for telling my retired military father what I said? I'm 32, male, and my family is what I would consider generational military. We have ancestors that fought in World War I and beyond. I grew up being moved from place to place, going long stretches without seeing my father, and I hated it. Anytime I'd say I missed my dad or I wished I could see him more, I was quickly told to be quiet and be proud of my dad for being a hero. I once was upset we had to move because I was finally making friends and was told to not be selfish. I'm one of 4 kids. My brother and sisters all enlisted at 18. I chose not to, and while I'm not the only person in my extended family to do so, I knew it was disappointing. Originally, I chose not to enlist just because I didn't want to be in the military. However, over time, after learning more about it, I find the concept just wrong. I've never told my family this. I went to college, got my dream job, and eventually married my wife. We have 2 beautiful daughters. Because of our own upbringing, I do my best to be at every recital, school concert, soccer game, etc. I help my eldest with her homework, have special days with each of them separately, and then as family. Recently, I had the opportunity for a promotion that would require traveling 2 weeks out of the month. My wife and I briefly considered it before deciding that it just wasn't worth it in the long run. We do good financially, and the extra money wouldn't be worth her raising our kids alone half the month and me missing out on so much. The promotion came up during a family party. My father is now retired and he was there. When he heard me mention it, he asked why I would want to pass it up. I said I don't want to miss out on my girls' childhoods and have them feel like I abandoned them. My dad's chest puffed out and he said I was attacking him. I was confused and he said I had never been quiet about being unhappy as a military kid. He went on a rant about him not being an absent dad. I was an ungrateful brat, not patriotic, telling me to move to Canada if I didn't like it here. I said I don't want to do that. I just hated growing up without a physically present father. He said he was fighting for our country. I said that was a choice, and I'm allowed to not agree with it. My wife, kids, and I left shortly after. My wife agrees with my point, but said I was a jerk for wording my reasons for not taking the promotion like I did. Am I the jerk?
Yeah, you're an asshole.
I disagree with that.
I disagree with that one.
Because the difference is you got some unresolved frustration.
Mm-hmm.
So then you need to, address that in a way. It's not always a what, it's a how, right? See, people think that as long as what I say is my truth, it's good enough. No, you can be an asshole telling your truth. You know, I mean, wait, I don't know if he's done this. Now, granted, full disclosure, I am an Army brat. Okay. And I am, well, I guess what he used the term of generational military,
Mm.
where my family has been in the military going far back as you can count it.
World War One.
I've been told we go all the way back, but I don't know.
Oh, you talking about
But
you person? Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about the story. Sorry.
no, I'm talking about my family.
Mm.
So my brother and I neither of us went into the military. Like we're the first ones to just be like, nah, that's cool. But we got a lot of cousins and everybody else, right? So a lot of the story echoes. Now my father, I guess because of his MOS or his specialty, he was never really gone. You know, my dad was infantry. He made rank very quickly. And so the only time he was really away where we weren't stationed where he was stationed was a short period of time where he had to go to Korea. He had to serve in Korea. But I personally never felt the way this young person, this person feels. So I can't quite relate there, but I know a lot of military kids who do. It still comes down to your how, right? You feel like your dad wasn't there. Okay. Have you ever paused to really understand how your dad might have felt about not being there? Did you take the time to look at anyone's angle to your life experience beyond your own? See, your father joined the military. Once you join the military, you got two choices. You can sit there and sulk about it and never make rank and all that, whatever, be a bad soldier, or you can go in there and do your best, and it's your career, it's your livelihood. That doesn't take away from the fact that he wishes he could be around his kids. It doesn't take away the fact that the woman that he loves, he can't be around all the time. He's still balancing what he views as his duty and his mission, because in a very real sense, he has leveraged his life for your comfort in a very real sense. Because at any given time, he can be called up and never come back home. But he's made that decision that he loves his family and he loves his people enough that he'd do that. So that doesn't take away from the child missing his daddy, right? I get that. But it just really annoys me how people only look at things from their own lens. It's all me, right? That bothers me. So yeah, you made different decisions than your dad. Guess what? The reason why you can make those decisions different than your dad is because of what your dad did. You gonna give Pops credit for that? I didn't hear him doing that. Pops afforded you the lifestyle that you could grow up in the military and not be something you had to do.
Okay.
But
now here's my argument. Here's my counter argument. Because I disagree. And granted, of course, I keep in mind that we're taking all of this from the OP's point of view because he's the one that wrote the letter. So, just keep that in mind. But since we are taking it from his point of view, let's look at his point of view. Yeah, he has told him this sucks rocks. I'm sick and tired of moving. I'm sick and tired of making friends and we have to leave. I'm sick and tired of you not always being here. I'm sick and tired of this thing. And all we get is not, oh, I understand, son, but this is the way things are when you're in the military, blah, blah, blah. No, this is always a suck it up and you need to be happy that your dad is a war hero, or military hero, or whatever the word was said. So it was always your feelings at this point really don't give a rat's ass. It don't matter. So now the guy grew up, and things I have to take one thing, what you said, to heart. The only thing I think this guy ever really got out of it is I know how it felt to have an absentee father, and I refuse to do the same thing to my kids. That was the one thing that he got from his father. Because being in the military and taking care of your family is the equivalent of you working in a corporate operation and taking care of your family. Don't make a difference because you in the military. You did what you were supposed to do. Great. I get it. Wonderful. Fantastic. Now, the other part that got me is the response of the father. And that was the part that I knew was going to be some BS. Because you could have said, dude, I'm sorry that I missed out on your life. I'm sorry that you feel this way. I really do. No, this dude went all the way from, and he did say in his rant back to his son, you have been saying this since you was little. Oh, so you did know this was effed up to him.
Yeah, he knew.
He known this for a long time. But the other thing is, you went, I don't know where the hell you went with, you unpatriotic and you need to move to Canada simply because he's mad at you? Do you think every war that we ever fought, they just sit your little ass in there and said, fight? Up, we won. You weren't the only military person fighting, dude. Your son don't like you. That ain't got nothing to do with your ego got it so much as he don't like you. He don't like America. And if he don't like America, he can leave.
Well, that's the ego thing.
Yeah, that was going from where you was going with
that. That's the ego thing. And not only was it an ego thing, but it was a dead giveaway that this is a conservative family. Dead giveaway.
Yeah, that was
right. That part of go live somewhere else.
Yeah,
the only conservatives say that crap.
Yeah, if you don't like it here, you could go somewhere else. Yeah,
right.
But let me finish real quick.
Go ahead.
So my point was, and the funny thing about it is, you're right back on the Fox train because that's exactly the way Foxy thought. That he could have pulled him to the side and said, look, we'll discuss this later. And we'll talk about it. I'm on the verge, at this point, simply because, and I don't know what the word to say it is, but I have a strange feeling that him saying, hey, let's talk about this later, with response to how the father was acting afterwards, meaning, no, we're going to talk about it now. What do you got to say? No, I need to know now. Good. See, I have a feeling this dude was going to push the subject till he got an answer.
He might. And I think that's where you and I differ a lot. You and I differ a lot on that point right there. You assume you know what the next response is going to be, and you act on that assumption. I'm saying what you're saying may very well be what comes next. But why don't you feel that the other person has the right to at least make that call and then react to it? Right? Like, if the dad, because what I gather from part of the story is the dad is your traditional military guy, right? Gung ho, raw,
Yeah.
Give orders, take orders, accomplish the mission. That's what we do. And things suck, and along the way, it ain't gonna go your way, but you still got to get it done. And personally, there's a lot of that in me. I do believe in that to a certain extent. But then I also have a softer side because my girls taught me how not to live in black and white and to see all these rainbow colors in between. But it's still, there is a lane for that. And what I gather from this person's thing is dad was not the instigator in this situation. What this is you and your dad have unresolved issues. You feel like you didn't have enough voice and choice as a child. I would say you probably didn't. As a military child, I can almost guarantee you didn't, because the orders come through the chain of command, right? They tell your dad where he needs to go. Then the family gets up and they move, right? It ain't even like your dad is making the decision on all the places he's going to be going. And then oftentimes, let's say he joined the military and he was 18. So as a child, he joined the military. So that's around the time most people join the military. So somewhere between 18 and 22. So as a child, you joined the military. You chose a discipline as a child, effectively. Based on that discipline, or as Marlon would call it, the MOS, based on that discipline, you might have rapid deployments. You might never get deployed. You might move every 3 years. You might move once in 15 years. It all depends on how fast you're trying to make rank, what specialty you went into the military under, and all those things. So, yes, young person, you didn't have a lot of say. I am going to say, suck that part up, because it's not up to you as a child where y'all move, right? That's not a child's place. But as a parent, you should have been working between you and your wife. I'm talking about the dad at this point. You should have been working to make those transitions as easy as possible for your children.
That's all I'm
But
asking.
that depends on your toolkit. He could have been doing it the best way he knew how, and the way he was doing it just wasn't the best way.
The best
But no
way
one wants to
you-
give him credit for trying and getting it wrong.
But there's
No,
really
They just
no
want to say-
I am
tables
not
in
going to
this
give
story.
you credit for literally telling your kid to suck it up and be grateful that your dad is in the military and fighting for this country. I'm not going to give
If
you
that
credit
was your
for that.
toolkit, that's what you'll say. We sit here all the time and talk
Okay.
about our childhoods and the imperfect way that our parents raised us. And all of those things are based on the toolkits our parents had. All the ass whoopings, all the cursing out, all the you can't do this, you can't do that, all of that. These were your parents that we all love doing it the best way they knew how. And then we grow up and some of the unresolved shit boils up and we carry some of it forward, or we do some things different. But who you know raising kids perfectly?
Not anybody I know. But
That-
see, this is one of those stories I don't think there's an a-hole at all. Because I think both sides are reasonable in what they feel. I think the son is reasonable in feeling like you weren't there for me. You could have been there. Then the father is reasonable in saying, hey, I was serving the country. Although him telling him to move to Canada, shut up. But there's really no a-hole here. The son had every right to express how he felt. And so did the father. Except for the moving to Canada part. He could have kept that to himself.
and
I'll toss the Canada part out from just being angry, saying something stupid.
Yeah.
Oh, and the part about him just ranting. I mean, he knew his child. Yeah, you're right. He should have sat down with the wife and said, hey, when he misses me, show him a picture of me or something. Say, hey, he's serving our country. He's a hero. Blah, blah. Whatever military parents tell their children. I don't know. But there's no a-hole in this story, I don't think.
And if I was even to meet Diaz in the middle and Tracy in the middle, it was emotional. It was emotions boiled over on both ends. The guy had him. The OP had emotions. It boiled over because it just boiled over, right or wrong. When you have the emotions built in, because I hate when people go, "Yeah, you could have handled it better." Yeah, you could have had to handle it better. But that's playing what's that? Couch quarterback.
2020
Monday
hindsight or
morning
whatever.
Yeah,
quarterback.
2020 highlight and everything else.
Yeah,
You already
2020
saw what the
hindsight.
result of one event was. So of course you could look back on the event and go, you could have did this. Well, okay, got you. But to meet Theus and Tracy in the middle, the OP's emotions boiled over. And he said what he said. The father could have been in the same position. He may have felt this pain for years, abandoning his child, wanting to be there for his child, couldn't be there for his child, never could have been there for his child, hearing about this from his child since day one and everything else. And that could have been his final straw. And I'm with this.
That's the point I was making.
Let's eliminate the move to Canada thing because I don't know. He was on a roll
Yeah,
with that one.
nobody that's
he
not
It's
really
the
felt like
conservative
equivalent.
citizen.
It's the equivalent, right? The son is like, well, I didn't take the job because I don't want to be like you, Dad. And then Dad is like, well, if you don't like it, get the hell out of the country. They're both hyperbolic statements meant to hurt the other person.
My problem with the convo was the father
Yeah.
immediately dismissed the feelings of his son. The son was not criticizing his father; he was just telling his father how he felt. And
He was criticizing his
but
father.
He going word for
No.
word and statement for statement. He didn't. But
Father took that little.
you and I know daggone well what sneaky diss is. And that could have literally been a sneaky diss.
He took a shot.
He took a shot. So if you go, so there's two different things. Word for word, no, he did not say absolutely nothing wrong about the father.
The father just
But
went.
you kind of knew that, he was talking about you.
It was a passive aggressive, took a shot.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people when they get into stuff with me. I am non-confrontational. I really, 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 really hate conflict. But that's because I don't do good in the middle. Right? I either let a lot of stuff go or I go right for your throat. Like I don't do variations. I'm really, really bad at throttling back my responses. So if you take a shot at me, pretty often I'm swinging right back. Because what you're not going to do is think that I'm going to let this little slick shit fly. Right? So like he's sitting there with his dad. His dad knows him. He knows his dad. This was an opportunity, which is human. This is what families do. This is what people do. Right? And there was an opening. You couldn't just say, well, I didn't take the job because I wanted to spend more time with the kids, or I didn't take the job because when I did all the math with my wife, it just didn't work out to make sense. You knew what your trigger points are going to be for your dad. You knew.
Yeah.
He went right.
So you worded it in
right
such
there.
a way to get that reaction out of him, and then he gave you the reaction. Because in reality, that's what both of you wanted. Because you have what is it called? Like unresolved issues. So, like with spouses, sometimes, Marlon, I don't know if it ever happens in your world, but I know it happens in mine. Sometimes you take a shot at your spouse just because you got some frustrations that's been sitting around, and it's not worth a whole fight, but you need to get that off your chest, so it just be something stupid. But you go ahead and you swing that jab, and you think you're going to get through it. And a lot of times you do get through it, but sometimes they fight back.
Anna,
Go ahead, Anna, I'm sorry.
All right, Anna.
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you was leaving. Sorry.
It was I don't know if to anybody else, but for me, the animals were so freaking distracting and it was cute, and
The cute little dog.
I couldn't hang on to the story at some point. Where were
There were animals?
They were at a family picnic or something like that. I forget.
Yeah, they was at some kind of family gathering.
Some kind of family get together.
Okay, so
where stuff be having, where family stuff always pop up. Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner, 4th of July, fight breaks out.
Or just some random get together. Let's get together as a family and blah 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 and shoot the breeze. We ain't seen each other in a long time.
And then here comes
and thank you for saying that, Anna, because that's the main argument discussion me and Foxy have. Is why did you bring that up there? Why could you not have brought it up at a later time? And I'm piggybacking off of Thea's. When you know it's going to trigger him, why did you not do it at a later time? Why would you do this in front of the family? So
that's because it's family. This is what families do. We bring up inconvenience things that bothered us 25 years ago. We'll hold on to that thing for 25 years, and that's the worst time. A funeral, a wedding, a graduation. We'll bring up some. We didn't resolve it then, but we're going to resolve it today. People, this is life. And this is what happens when you do not resolve something when it happens.
I've learned. Me and Foxy learned the hard way, and Mickey, I will get back to what you were saying, but let me say this real quick. Me and Foxy learned this the hard way to not hold things in anymore. Remember the word anymore, because we used to. And we let it build and let it build and let it build until it spilled over. Then we're spending the next 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, a day, the rest of the week fussing and complaining and moaning and groaning about stuff that happened 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, 2, 3, 4 months ago, that neither one of us remember, but the other person does vividly.
They remember how they felt.
Yeah, because we remember how it felt. Yeah, so yeah, I remember it. And obviously, since you don't remember, you didn't care and everything else. We have made a promise to each other that from this point on, and the word is difficult conversations. We know it's not going to be a conversation. It's not going to be easy. But if there's something that's on your mind that you need to say, damn it, you need to say it. Because it's not going to get better because you said it in your head and you get mad about it. You need to hold those difficult conversations. Because you need to get it all out.
Nobody can read your mind. And if they
but that's
could,
easier.
that's really squeamy.
It is.
If they could.
Please don't say it's easier said than done, because it is. It is that easy.
No, I was saying it's easier between partners. Now, it absolutely is easier said than done, right? Because what we've all been told, probably right around the time you first get married, well, don't go to bed angry, right? Yeah. Everybody hear that thing.
Yeah, we tried that one time. That didn't work.
The people who tell you that, 9 times out of 10, the person who told you don't go to bed angry, been married for like 30 years. So they already went through what you about to go through, right? You got to get through those first 10 to 15 years. You got to get through fighting, almost giving up. You got to go through all of that mess. That's part of being with another person. And then what you find is one day, so for some people it happens in 10 years, for some people it happens in 15, 20, and 30. Wherever it happens, one day things click and you just stop fighting over certain things, right? Or you know to just say what it is and deal with it. But those are skills, right? You got to go through some things and learn those skills and work through them. And it's easier for partners than it is between a father and his son, at least in my opinion. Because like with me and my dad is my hero. My dad joined the military when he was 17 years old to take care of his wife who was about to have his child. He had every opportunity. He was a football and a basketball phenom coming out of the projects. But because he had a baby coming, he would have been the first one to go to college. But he didn't go to college. He went to the military so that he could take care of his family. And in my experience, in my realm, I've never heard him complain. Now, does that mean that he never complained? No.
Not to you. Yeah, you didn't hear it.
You never heard it.
You never heard it.
Does that mean, right? Does that mean that he didn't have problems and all these things? I learned all kinds of stuff as I got older, after I was grown, that the things that I didn't have any awareness of when I was a kid growing up underneath them. So that's why when I listened to this person telling his story, I couldn't really ride with him all the way, because he's not factoring in the things that were done to give him what he did have. He's focusing on the things he didn't have. He's focusing on the level of parenting, the what do you call it? Gentle parenting, is what they call it nowadays. That was not something that was normal back then. So you trying to judge his parenting skills from, let's say, the 80s to your parenting options in the 2020s. Come on, y'all. You got to give some people a little bit of flexibility.
But he has every right to feel the way they both have the right.
And I'm saying he doesn't have the right to feel. You feel how you feel, but you need to think about more than just your feelings, because your feelings will play you false. You got to say, here are my feelings. This is what I feel. Here's why I feel it. I feel justified in why I feel it. And then think about the other person that you're so upset about, what might have gone into their math. And then you can come to an intelligent way of expressing your feelings, right? What this dude is doing is he's reacting like a teenager would, but he's already an adult with a family. So he's entitled to how he feels. It comes down to the how is being expressed. And then the father, he's entitled to how he feels. But his how sucks too. Right?
But we also have to keep in mind something that just a tad bit of a heartstring puller. It ain't like the son was asking. It's not like the son was asking for nothing else other than his father. He wasn't asking for extra income. He wasn't asking for extra loving. I wish I had more food. I wish we did everything. He just wanted to spend more time with his father growing up.
But that's
what
was
he
an
thinks he wanted.
impossible situation
That's what he
because
thinks
his
he wanted.
father was in the military. It's like
Thank
both
you.
sides have to concede something. Both sides
That's
have
what
to
he
make a
thinks he wanted.
concession. Both sides have to make a concession. The son has to
Right.
realize his father was serving his duty in the military. The father has to realize the son feels inadequate because his father was gone all the time.
Exactly.
It sounds like to me it's this.
That's why I said neither one of these people are the
Yeah,
a-hole.
it sounds like it's just.
I mean,
two
minus
sides
the
of
father
same
telling the
coin.
son to go to Canada. That was a-hole-ish all the way, man.
You realize at a certain point when people are riled up, they're saying stuff. Doesn't make sense. They're mad and angry. They're saying stuff.
So. Yeah, but going to what you said about he just wanted his daddy.
Yeah.
All right, I get that. Every child, generally speaking, every child wants their mommy and their daddy. Okay? That's like when you run into people who are adopted, never knew their parents, right? They only know their adoptive parents, love their adoptive parents to death, but there's still a hole in their heart because they want to know something about their mommy and their daddy. It's a human thing. Get it, got it, good. But you're reacting to a child's viewpoint. I want my daddy. That's not a reasonable, full-fledged position. That's just an emotional response. Because let's say daddy was there. No, hear me out. Let's say daddy was there. Daddy might not have been a good dad. So you want dad there because you didn't have dad. You're focusing on what you don't have. Well, he could have been there, and then he worked at the local sawmill, hated his life, starts drinking, all this. You don't get to design the person. So once you start to shift these things around and say, well, dad should have been present. Okay, dad would have been present, but dad's now present in the position that he would have been in. Because your father was not present and he gave some of the opportunities for you, whether he was an imperfect dad or whatever it is, was chalk it up. It is what it is. Y'all need to work that out, get some counseling if that's what y'all need. But the fact is, he was not there. The reality you're in is he was not there all the time. Based on all the things that happened in your life, it led you to a position to where you can now be there for your children in a way that he wasn't there for you. That's a good thing, right?
Yep.
But what if you change the scenario and now he's there and he's not a good father? Because you don't know what kind of father he was. You don't know. And then you wish he would have been gone.
Diaz, do you think your point of view is also biased because you had a hero for a father? Not everyone has.
I said my point of view is biased. But listen to the words I'm saying. Listen to the words I'm saying. I am telling you, not just from my point of view, because I had a great father. The story I just gave you is about having not a great father. The story I just gave you has nothing to do with my life. I'm simply saying that whenever you want to cast judgment on another person, it behooves you, the closer that person is to you, it behooves you to throw some consideration into what made that person who and what they are to you. It's just what you should do. So if your father wasn't that great away, what makes you think he's going to be that great present?
You don't know.
Exactly. So now
No,
you're only
that's
functioning
that's
off of
not
your imagination.
that's not
You're holding someone to a standard that only exists in your head.
It would have been better if he had been
but
around.
Piers, uh, exactly what you said that I do. Exactly what you said that I do. Looking ahead of what could have, should have,
Yes.
would have happened, and everything else. I don't know
Mhm.
what the father could have did. He doesn't know what his father could have did. He is going. The emotions that he is feeling right now is the present day of what he's already been through.
The distinction, Marlon, is when I was talking about when you do it, you're looking forward. I am talking about looking backward. See, forward, you still have a chance to write the script. Backwards, you don't get to rewrite that script. You don't get to go back and decide who he would have been, could have been, should have been. You don't get it. You can't go back there. That's gone. It's past, whatever. So everything you're functioning on is your imagination. Everything you're functioning on is what you wish were true. And you can't have that version of reality because unfortunately, that's not the version of reality you got to live. So now you got two choices. You can either suck it up, which is unhealthy, right? Or you can find out, how do we chart our course from here, Dad? Here are my feelings, here are my concerns. You give me your feelings and your concerns. How do we chart this damn thing forward so we don't keep feeling this way about each other every time we see each other? Those are your choices.
The only thing,
Am I wrong there?
no, you're not wrong. And like I said, it just seems like it was it's a we should hold this conversation in private because I got some man first cuss word of the day. I got some shit I need to tell you, Dad. Like for real. Like we need
Would
to
you
hash this
really
out.
curse in front of your parent like that, though?
No, I'm not.
If
No.
it's that real, you might.
If you're no, I literally, I've tried. I've been really upset, and I never could cuss in front of my mom, and I tried a lot. Closest I
I
got was
slipped and cursed the other day in front of my dad, and I felt like I was 5 years old
I,
immediately.
I
I
don't.
like, oh,
I
I'm so
can't
sorry,
do it.
Dad.
I literally
Dad,
can't
I'm sorry.
do it. Every curse word that you have heard me say on this show, and right now my mom is downstairs, and I go, "Ooh, I really hope she didn't hear me." Because
Yeah,
I
play last
really
night's
hope
episode to
I
be like,
really hope
Mama,
I didn't
Mama,
say
I
that
got
word
something I
that
want you to
loud. And
hear. Listen to this last night's episode, Mama.
And she literally said, and she had told me one time before, son, you grown. I know you cuss. I cussed. I know where you got your cuss words from and everything. But it's a filter. It's just something that just mother effer bleeping, bleeping, and bleeping, bleeping. My mom could walk in the room, and that's all I got to say, and I ain't got to say no more. And walk out the door. I just can't do it. Just no, no, no. Foxy's.
But yeah, to answer your question, though, Tracy, I can't imagine ever sitting there cursing with my father, but that's my father. But I've witnessed a lot of relationships where cursing is just
Yeah.
how they talk.
I
That's just
know,
how they
but y'all
talk.
talk. And my
So
parents
they
were
don't mean no malice.
not free of the cursing. Trust me, that's why I chose not to. Because we not.
I get it. We're gonna skip real or not because it's getting really late, so we'll hold on to that until the next time we come back. So we're just gonna skip to Foxy's videos of the week. This first video, I pulled it up for two reasons. One, it's an interesting subject to discuss. Two, I hate I hate these type of people's argument style. And what I mean by that is I hate people who sit there and over talk the person that they're talking to, try to say it real fast and get you and got you and all this other stuff. I can't stand that argument style. I personally refuse to get into it with them, or I will purposely slow the conversation down. Now, you can talk fast all you want to, but I'm not. So I'm not going to match your style. Are you going to match mine? I don't know. But I'm not going to match your style. Because what happens is what they do when they do things like that is you can make a full sentence that could be absolutely correct. But when they're trying to make you look incorrect, they're only going to take out 2 or 3 words out of that sentence. They concentrate on those 2 or 3 words to formulate another question. So that's the other reason why I brought this video up. So let's take a look.
If they're religious and they believe homosexuality is a sin, that's not bigoted.
Wait, yes, that is. Yes, it is. That is.
Religion is bigoted? Religious people are bigoted?
No. Religious beliefs that homosexuality is a sin is absolutely bigoted.
So how, like, all Catholics are bigoted?
If you believe that homosexuality is a sin, that belief is bigoted.
So people who believe in the Bible, they're all bigoted? That's silly. I mean, listen,
No,
there are people who
you
believe that, I mean, a lot of the population is religious and holds, I personally don't.
Who's the least accepting of gay people? It's the white evangelicals.
But
U.S. Muslims,
U.S.
Muslims are more accepting of gay people in this country.
That's how religious people feel about homosexuality.
And that's wrong. That's incorrect.
Well, it's not up to you to judge that, though.
Wait.
It's not up to you to judge that.
So how are they determining that it's wrong?
Listen, it's not up to you to define for them how they feel about behavior. It's not up to them to define for you. But
facts
that is
don't
how
care.
they
Wait,
feel.
facts don't care about your feelings.
But it's not. But it's.
Okay, they both annoyed me. I'm sorry, they both annoyed me.
No, I liked his approach because he was staying on cue. She was doing that thing that annoys me so much, which is you just start throwing vomit at me, and then as I go after one of the things you say, you then immediately pivot into a whole new trajectory, right? Like, if your belief, doesn't matter where it came from, is saying that another person's existence is wrong, your belief is bigoted. That's the point. Her approach was to then say, Catholics don't agree with homosexuality, so you're saying Catholics are bigots. And he's saying, if your belief does this thing, it meets this definition. And she tries to do a false, straw man, where you switch it, so now you're attacking a protected group. Ooh, you said you're against Christians. Ooh, you said you're against Catholics. Ooh, when really, no, I'm talking about A plus B equals C. That's what I'm talking about. We're talking about an equation. And you're trying to make me go and debate a theory. So I liked his approach. He did good in my.
But you saw how what the deal was, because he flat out said that statement is bigoted. If you believe in that statement, that makes you a bigot. And I'm sorry, miss, but if you assume that if all Catholics believe in that statement, which I have no data to believe that or not. I'm not even going to sit there and say that I do. But if you feel like they do, then the statement is still bigoted. If that person who happens to be Catholic believes in that statement, they're a bigot. If that person,
or their view is bigoted,
their view is bigoted. If that person who is Catholic do not believe in that statement, they're not bigoted.
But what was her statement, though?
That homosexuality is an abomination to God.
Is a sin. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the statement.
So, and here's the thing. And that's why you have to, like, really, when you get into these conversations, you got to figure out what version of reality are we going to be working in. Because if you're talking to a religious person and their whole basis is going to be their religious foundation, then we need to operate within that realm. So let's confirm that that's what we're doing. because I'm more than willing to use your text against you if that's what we need to do. But what we're not going to do is take your text, which is just your belief system. It is not fact. It is only fact to you because it's your belief system. So I am not subject to your belief system, nor are you subject to mine. So what we're not going to do is use my belief system to fight your belief system. It will never work. We'll never get anywhere. It's a wasted argument. But what we can do is, okay, we're either going to have a secular conversation or a religious conversation. Now, if we're going to have a religious conversation, let me walk you through all the ways that your religion is showing your behavior to not line up with your faith. If we're going to have a secular conversation, then your religion has no place in this conversation. None. And what people don't like is they don't like to agree to those ground rules because they want to be able to shift between the two and have you running all off chasing shadows.
Yeah, she like I said, the style is Tucker Carlson. Why do I keep forgetting
Ben
that?
Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, that's
type
a fast
thing.
talker.
I'm the fast talker. I'm going to talk and I'm going to try to get you to say something that you, one, never really did say, or two, I just took a couple of words out of your sentence and I'm going to concentrate on that. And then I'm going to slow down to make sure that everybody understands that these are the words that you said, not the words that I said. It's a form. And like I said, my thing is that I'm going to slow down the way I talk. And I'm going to get my words out. And I even literally will call you out if you try to overtalk me. Because if you're trying to overtalk me, then I'm going to assume that you want to hold a conversation with yourself. And if you want to hold a conversation with yourself, then I don't need to be in the room with you because you're apparently want to talk and hold a conversation with yourself. I'm sorry that I grew up holding conversation with people. I did not hold conversation with voids. So if you want to hold a conversation with me, I will have a spirited conversation with you. Everybody sees how this show is. We get loud on this show holding conversations. But we try not to speak over each other. We try not to take 2 or 3 words and make an entire paragraph out of it. You do not. You literally do take this statement. And I'm talking about, well, I don't believe. Well, your belief, is that what we're talking about now? What you believe? That's literally not what I said. If you're going to take 2 words out of it and make a full other sentence, that's nowhere near what I just said. And I don't like people to hold that conversation. If you want to hold that type of conversation, please go do it with somebody else. And if you want to put me down and say, oh, you don't want to hold the tough conversations. No, technically, since you're trying to speak to the sound of Speedy Gonzalez, you don't want to hold this conversation. You just want to hear yourself talk. And the funny thing about 2 people holding a conversation with one person want to hear themselves talk, I'll let you talk. I don't have to be there. Have a ball. We come back to me later and figure out which you decided that you agreed on. But I ain't got to be there. I got plenty of things to do. Like my cousin said, if I don't do nothing but go outside and jump up and down in the rain, it's better than holding a conversation with you. We know they have no honest debates when they consistently interrupt and talking over, telling them what they think by rewording what they. And Mickey, they're not trying to. They're literally not trying to. And the people that keep falling for this is mind-boggling, for one. Slow the conversation down. Make them slow down. And if they're not going to slow down, then excuse yourself. And tell the reason why you're excusing yourself. I'm sorry. I cannot hold a conversation with somebody who decides upon themselves to ask and answer their own question. I'm not in
Mehdi
a conversation with you.
Mehdi Hassan, he has that book that he just wrote about how to win an argument or whatever the right words are there. And one of the points he was making is there are a lot of debate styles. I've never took debate when I was a kid. I wish I had, because I would have been great at it.
I did a lot.
I push my kids towards it because I have debates with my kids all the time just to sharpen their skills. Because if I can show you how to outsmart the person that you're dealing with, then you won't have as many physical conflicts, right? Because people who are not very bright don't want to spend a lot of time fighting with you. They just don't. So if you become known for that person that you don't want to have that kind of verbal wordplay with, people tend to leave you alone. Unless you're an asshole, then you got to learn how to fight. But I think that debate is very important. And one of the styles that is very popular on the right at this moment, I don't know the right terminology. He used the right terminology, but it's basically that verbal vomit thing. I am going to overwhelm you with points, not facts, not any. If I have a fact, I'll give you a fact. If I have an opinion, I'll give you an opinion, and I'll blend them all together, and I'll just keep throwing them at you, so that you get stuck trying to keep up with responding to each of my allegations. In sales, I call that verbal fetch, right? Rhetorical fetch, right? They don't actually want to get you anywhere. They just want to throw this out there. You go chase it down, bring it back to them, throw another one out there, and you go out there and do that. And next thing you know, you're just in this weird loop where you're not going anywhere. You're just getting frustrated. And your frustration is their point, right? And then to the audience, they just keep saying, this person seems to be calm, collected, and he's making points. And the other person isn't really answering their questions. So this one must be right. That's their game. But what you do when you have those verbal vomit moments is, okay, pause. Like Marlon said, you pause. You let them kind of run their mouth some. You pick which point out of all them many points that ain't thrown out there you want to deal with. And then you take it, you rephrase it. You say, okay, so let's take what you were saying piece by piece. Now, one point you said was this. Rephrase what they said to you, give it right back to them. Is that what you said? So you're saying then that this is blah, blah, blah. Like, that's how you break that chain. But right. You have to be practiced in it, or else you kind of get lost in the sauce and you just... And when unfortunately, our news networks, MSNBC, CNNs, and all them jokers, they don't do follow-up questions, so you never see it in action. Unless you watch Mehdi Hassan, because he will, he'll get people.
Or Pete Buttigieg.
Or Pete, yeah.
Because
I'm really good at it.
I'm really tired of y'all just, damn well you ain't going to win an argument with Pete. Stop it. Just stop it.
I wouldn't invite him on to nothing.
Literally, however you feel about Pete, fine. But stop trying to debate this dude. Oh, and then my new friend that Thea's introduced me to. Why do I forget his name? Black Power guy. The guy who actually coined the phrase Black Power.
Oh, Stokely Carmichael.
Yeah, Stokely Carmichael.
But what was his other name?
Kwame Ture.
Thank you. I can never remember that. I was like, well,
you got to look at some of the debates. There's going to be a show because I literally...
Was he Stokely Carmichael first and then Kwame Ture, or was he Kwame Ture and then Stokely? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there is a great debate that I have that I'm going to do a whole show on, because they have a multitude of 60s and activists, and Stokely Carmichael is on there. It was a phenomenal watch.
There's a reason he's my hero. For political heroes, I place him above Malcolm. That's how much I love hearing that man speak, and the way he talks and the way he dissects things is just, it's a masterclass. The only person who I would say may be able to rival him would be like James Baldwin. But James Baldwin had a different approach to how he did things. But you watch some of the old, like, just go back and watch on YouTube, because they got all kinds of videos for it. Stokely Carmichael, Muhammad Ali, because that boy was bad too when you got him in some of those interviews, and of course anything with Malcolm.
I was about to say Malcolm X had
Yeah.
a style. Malcolm
You
X,
cannot poo-poo on Malcolm X.
yeah, Malcolm X wasn't this radical blah 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 yelling his everything else, but his delivery was so, this is the facts. You're not going to change my mind. This is how I feel. This is how my people feel. This is what we want. This is what we don't want. And it's just, you look at him and you get mesmerized by not his, but it's more like he's just flat out just telling you nothing that you can do or say is going to change how I feel or think.
Malcolm he was just a master class of, and it's just the realness of him, right?
Yeah.
Because a big part of his story is the fact that, he wasn't one of those college educated bourgeois Negroes of the time, right? He didn't have the benefit of coming up that side of the tree, so to speak, right? Martin was groomed to be Martin. Now, granted, Martin's was a great man, but he was the educated bourgeoisie side of the black movement. Malcolm was purely from the streets, purely just a natural talent that came up, right? And there's a lot that goes into those particular stories. So yeah, never would I, poo-poo on Malcolm. Like you said, I agree. He's just a phenomenal man. Awesome. But but Stokely is that's just that dude, like Malcolm probably would have been that too if they didn't murder him. But yeah, it was, those are ones I would definitely say, if you're interested in just being blown away by the natural intelligence and gifts of those leaders. What happened?
Malcolm was a retired gangster.
Yeah, I mean Malcolm,
yeah.
Right? I mean, not to go. Well, he was never a gangster, but the point's taken, right? He was a street dude, right? Definitely came up the hard way of a lot of things, right? But that's what the part that annoys me so much about America is the hypocrisy of America. In Malcolm, you literally had the American dream put right in front of you, right? This was a person that had all the obstacles in life that you could many of the obstacles in life that you could have. And he did things to survive, then he did things out of malice. He was actually a bad guy for a while.
Yeah.
He went to prison. In prison, he was reformed. He wasn't reformed by the prison, but he was reformed in prison. He comes out, he's self-educated, he's disciplined, he's raising a family, he's helping to build religious organizations and resistance and things of that nature in a peaceful manner. You don't have a single event of the Nation of Islam actually being a violent entity. It just doesn't exist. That everything that makes a person think of the Nation of Islam as violent is purely from the white power structure not liking someone opposing them. No violence, though. Plenty of violence towards them. No violence coming back.
Okay, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
Where was there violence with the Nation of Islam?
They didn't do violence, but they have a lot of anti-Semitic views I can't get with.
Okay, so I would that's a wonderful point. Violence. So that's a different thing than what I was talking about, but it's a good point. Now, how can a Semitic people be anti-Semitic? That's part of the issue. So when you hear people saying that the Nation of Islam is anti-Semitic, one, what they're usually pointing to is Minister Farrakhan back in the 80s when he made the statement that Judaism is no, he was saying he's talking about Zionism is a gutter religion when he was talking about Judaism being used by Zionists to do things. And that is usually where everybody kind of comes at, and they say, well, that was anti-Semitic. And the thing is, the Jewish people are not the only Semites. The Arab people are Semites. So the fact that the Jewish community or the nation of Israel has taken on such of a position that any what do you call it, criticism of them is automatically cast as anti-Semitic, which is an unfair deflection. See, this is one of the things that Stokely Carmichael often spoke on as well. Judaism is a wonderful religion. Judaism is one of the oldest religions. Now, my personal opinion, Judaism is more of a real religion than Christianity, because Christianity was never told to exist. They just decided to make it. I mean, no one can show me where Christ said, create a religion out of me. Can't do it. So Judaism is a very a beautiful faith in a religion. But Zionism is a political movement operating behind the religion. Kind of like being a white supremacist or a Christian nationalist, right? They're hiding behind Christianity. Zionists hide behind Judaism. And then they weaponize it to make dissent seem like you're being anti-Semitic. And that's what the Nation of Islam will oftentimes point to and fight back against. But I'm not here as a member of the Nation of Islam, because I'm not. But the point you raised, that's one of the things I really wish people would think more about, you know? Because are they really anti-Semitic? And what is it that would lead someone to think that they are?
I don't want anybody to answer, because then we'll be going way into like the third hour, and we're trying not to do that.
Third hour.
Yeah, I know we're like 7 minutes. Yeah, you see 7 minutes. We're 2 hours and 7 minutes in. I guarantee you, we actually start answering these questions, we will be going into 3 hour mode. You know it, and I know it. We've done it before.
But Parker, you should just read the autobiography of Malcolm X. He explains.
But why do y'all think Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam and Elijah Muhammad? I only knew a little bit part of that story. He follows up with this. But why do you think Malcolm X left the Nation of Islam? Parker, this is what I ask you to do. Please email me that question, and we'll do a complete show on it. Because again, not only do I want to be that show, that network, YouTube channel, whatever you want to call me, that, we talk about subjects, get to the root of it, pull no punches and everything else. I do want to still educate. And as much as we know a lot of things on here, everybody on this panel has a little bit more knowledge than the other person on a variety of things. But we also got to remember that there are people out there who don't know nothing of what we're talking about. And I want to be the one who educate things on things I feel people may not know about. So email me so I don't forget, so we can do a show or even a piece of Malcolm X life at the end part of it, because I really do feel a lot of people don't know the ending part of Malcolm X before his assassination. I think they all know from, I don't even think a lot more than not. More than
stuff they got from like some of the movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, more than not, people know the beginning. More than obviously, a lot more people know the middle. Very few know the end. So I really feel like that we need to do a show on the end part of Malcolm X's life. All right, Learn Life. You take care, man. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
I would love a show that. I know a lot about Malcolm X way back, but I've forgotten most of it. Yeah, I think we need to do a segment on it. That's fair. I knew it was a complex topic, and y'all, it would be cool to see y'all do just a segment on it. And I think that is a important segment. I think we need to do a lot of segments, and there's Dr. Martin Luther King too, because there was a lot of.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of differences at the end before his life was taken too, that people don't know that
I
much
think,
about.
yeah, I think that I mean, we oftentimes, you know, we make the statement about how we're only told about 3 people, you know, Martin and what's the name on the bus?
Rosa Parks
Rosa Parks,
on the bus.
right?
Mhm.
I mean, that sounded dismissive, and I apologize.
No,
but,
I'm sorry.
I
When
mean,
you said that, the first thing that popped in my head was wheels on the bus, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
nah,
That's me being
but
silly. It's late. It's me being silly.
no, but we often make those comments, but at the same time, their stories aren't very well told.
No,
Like
no.
when you covered Rosa Parks, it brought her to life far more than the postage stamp explanation that we usually get for her, right?
She was tired and her feet hurt.
That she was just tired. She just happened to
She
be
was
there,
tired, and
right?
she sat down, and she refused to move, and that's how this whole
Yeah.
civil rights
Which boiled
started.
down to angry black woman, right?
Angry black woman. Yeah.
So no, I think their stories are very important,
But we should be angry.
Well, that I agree that we should be angry. And as you guys have heard me say before, one of my biggest frustrations is that we don't remain angry. And if you would study, those out there, really study or look into the videos, just watch videos, I don't care, about Stokely Carmichael. And that's one of his major things from the beginning all the way to the end. So from his 20s to the day he died, was about the difference between organizing and mobilizing. Our community, the Black community, is excellent at mobilizing. We are terrible at organizing. So we get angry and then we get past it. And then we get angry and then we get past it. That's mobilizing. That'll give you some short-term gains. But organizing, that's where the real work happens. That's where you take the unconscious and make them conscious. Because once you're conscious, once you're woke, it's hard to go back to sleep. You start to see the things that before you were ignoring, or you start trying to actually address the ills that affect your community. The Black Panther Party was a woke organization. They saw a need to police the police, so they did something. They saw that in order for you to be able to uplift a community and get them engaged with being in love with being who they are, first, you have to give them something to sustain themselves. So that's where the breakfast program came from. That's where the clinics, the free clinics came from. It wasn't just a socialist communist thingy that they were doing. If you want to, and I'm sorry, I'm waxing long, but there's a brother, his name is Polite. I don't know how to spell it because it's spelled funny, but it was one time, he's like one of those street philosophers, right? And he was having a debate with some dude, and he made a point that was so deep for me. He was like, the one brother was like, I'm so tired of, Black folks, I can give them the truth, I give them the light, I give them all this information, and they still don't do anything. They still in love with the white man. They still in love with all this stuff. And sometimes you'll hear me say something to those similar effects. But then what the brother said back was, you got to give people something. If you're going to take something from somebody, you got to give them something. See, that white man, the proverbial white man that people are in love with, it's not that they really love that white man. It's the fact that in order to eat, that white man is the one who gave them a job, right? In order to house their family, that white man is the one they got to pay rent to. See? So if you want to pull our people away from our abusers, then you have to start to give them something to replace that which you're taking. If you can't hire a man, don't tell that man to quit his job. If you can't feed that man's family, don't tell that man to strike his employer. That's stupid. Your exchange is, I'm gonna give you knowledge, but you give up sustenance. Who gonna take that deal? So that's why it's so important to build our communities, to build businesses, build schools, build all those things, because once we start to have our own infrastructure, we don't need theirs as much. And now you can start to pull that separation piece apart and start to compete and not just be dependent. Marlon, you're mute.
And I'm just a talking. Why do y'all think there seems to be less of an effort to whitewash Malcolm X's legacy as opposed to the bigger effort to whitewash MLK's legacy? It's a twofold question. You either go to whitewash it or villainize it. Malcolm X's whole mentality, civil rights movement, and everything was nonviolence. Kind of hard to villainize nonviolence. Violence happened to you, but it's kind of hard to villainize that, hey, these people are not trying to hurt you. Can't do that with Malcolm X. Malcolm X wasn't violent. There's no record of them being violent at all. But any means necessary meant that we will, just like the Black Panthers, we will protect ourselves. Which means we are not saying nonviolence. We are nonviolence unless violence is not towards us. We're not going to go in there with guns ablazing to take what we feel is deemed to be rightfully ours. At the same time, we are not turning the other cheek. That's not us. You raise your hand to me, I'm raising my hand to you. So, in other words, and I'll just use that analogy so we can move on. You raise your hand to me, I'm going to raise my hand to you. Turns to you raise your hand to me, I'm going to come into your white neighborhood and burn all your houses down and kidnap all your children. And they have to villainize people who stands up for themselves. So that's why. It's very hard to whitewash Malcolm X compared to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Well, it's also about what can we weaponize, like what Marlon was saying. Because I wouldn't. Once again, I invite you. Look into the slave codes. That's your first search. Read up on that. Then look up the black codes. Okay, read up on that. That will help put into context the Malcolm and the Martin situation. So the reason why Malcolm was villainized is because Malcolm brought up the realities of humanity. He asserted our humanity and would say, I will fight back. But not only will I fight back, I reject you. You do not want me, and I don't want you. And I'm okay with that. And that is a direct defiance of everything that the white culture in America is built on. We're supposed to be desperate to be with you. We're supposed to still be wanting to be accepted and assimilated. So when we finally have someone who says, no, I understand. You don't want me. You don't want me around. You don't want my children around your children. You don't want my women around your women. And you know what? I agree with you. I don't want your children around my children. I don't want your women around my women. I don't want your men anywhere around my men. The fact that you're being rejected is a foreign feeling, so you react to it. And Malcolm was everything about being a black man, right? Then you have Martin. Martin was much more of the acceptable role. He came at it from a more nuanced and gentle approach, where I want to be accepted. I want you to understand our humanity and accept our humanity. I want integration. I want cohabitation. I want us to live in peaceful agreement. So there's no trade-off there, right? I'm not making a demand of you. I'm just simply saying stop being violent, because we are not going to be violent. So you can take a Martin story, omit all the radical pieces of him, because he was a very radical man, but omit all the radical pieces about him and just put forward that clean, wholesome part that makes you feel good about yourself. And now you can steal Martin's legacy.
Yeah.
That's what they did with Muhammad Ali. They hated Muhammad Ali from the day he gave up those medals. They hated that man. Hated him. Until he was old and feeble and suffering from Parkinson's. Now you were willing to see him as the athlete of before, completely omit his entire adult life and all of that work and take it back to the kind man who was running with the torch. And then you remaster his story.
Yep.
That's what white America does.
Yep. Forget about his rejection of the Vietnam War. Forget about the fact you put him in prison. Forget about the fact that you took his medals.
Yeah. Everything. You took everything from this man. And he was and he said, okay. See, that's the part that, once again, it's all about when you reject whiteness, when you uncenter whiteness, and you say, you know what, whiteness is no longer the center of the universe. Whiteness is just one more planet in the solar system. God is the center of the universe, or the center of the solar system, or whatever you want to call it. But God is the center. And then we're all just planets rotating around God. You're not better or less than me. Whiteness can't handle that because it's never been made to handle that. So it reacts to the rejection. And so that's where you get these issues. And right now, you got more education, you got more access to information, you got people who are being self-educated, and all of this. We're basically going through a new renaissance. We're going through, the conservative movement is trying to push us backwards, right? If you're looking at it in a reverse timeline, we are now in the 60s, and they're pushing really, really hard to get us into the 50s. And we're on the opposite end with our allies and friends and stuff, pushing backwards, pushing forward, saying, okay, we didn't get engaged soon enough. We didn't stop you from pushing us from the 2020s into the 2000s into the 1990s. We didn't do a good job. You got us. All right, you got us. But we refuse to go into the 50s. So now we're pushing back. The gay community is pushing. The black community is pushing. The Asian community is pushing. The Latino community is pushing. The non-Christian nationalist white community is pushing. They're all pushing to try to get back towards where we're supposed to be. And the conservative movement is trying to push us back the other direction. And we have that friction. So it's time for that renaissance, right? And that's where we are right now.
And this was the light show, ladies and gentlemen.
It's about to be as light as you gonna get. All right, so fine, Tracy. I will end the show.
Well said, yeah.
Well said, Theas.
I didn't hear
he
you,
did say I didn't disagree with
She said, well said, Theas.
Oh. Thank you.
I just hate giving credit to Theas on anything.
Yeah, me too.
It's okay.
It's
all right.
Just turns my stomach a little bit. But
I feel you.
So we are going to end on a lighter note. Just okay, Anna. We're gonna try to end on a lighter note. That's all I can give you. We're gonna try to end on a lighter note. All homos are not the same.
Excuse me, are you Billiam's teacher? Okay, we need to have a little discussion. I'm just curious where you think that it's okay to teach children about gay rights. I know that it is happening from this classroom because my son came home and was so excited to tell me that he was a homo sapien. No. My son is a hetero sapien. No. Science is not an excuse because when I pull out my phone and I look up homo sapien, okay, hold on. Maybe I spelled it wrong. It just says human. It doesn't matter because my son will not be doing your assignment that says anything with the word homo on it. Excuse me. You're telling me if my son doesn't complete your woke assignment that you're going to fail him in science? That makes no sense to me. My son will not be discriminated against for being a heterosapien. It's on the curriculum. Well, not for much longer. Science isn't going to be around for much longer. The woke will be put to sleep. Let me tell you that. No, that isn't a threat. You know what? I think the news will love to hear about how my 8-year-old son is a homo sapien, okay? I'm on hold.
You can't be that dumb. You can't.
They are.
I know there's a parody, but you can't
They
be
are,
that
and we're
dumb.
losing to them.
They are.
What's the last thing she said?
She's on hold.
Oh, I'm
She's
on
on
hold.
hold. She was calling the news. She was on
Sorry, I
hold.
just couldn't. Sorry.
Hetero sapien.
Hetero sapien.
Imagine if she had to find out about Homo erectus.
Oh boy, she fly off the
She'd
handle.
lose her mind.
Yeah.
These people took 4 letters, right, and conjured up exactly the definition that any word that you use in behind that to mean the exact same thing as homosexual. Period. Those 4 letters, any letters that come after the 4 letters, HOMO, is totally irrelevant. Totally irrelevant.
Because these are not intelligent people.
These are not.
Hetero sapien. Hetero sapien. That means you're different. Nobody can be this stupid. Nobody can be this stupid. No, I refuse to believe it. I refuse.
Yeah,
I don't believe it. No.
Yeah, they are. They're literally that stupid.
I won't believe it.
They're literally that stupid. I've said this many a times on this show,
There's
Beyond
this
the Shadow of
thing
a Doubt,
called
and y'all go, no, they're not
Google.
that stupid. And I keep saying, yes, they are.
All
They
you
are
gotta
that
do is
stupid.
say.
They
All you
also
have to do
very
is click
organized. There's a difference.
They're not going to go to Google, Tracy, because these are people that if they went to Google, they would just say that that's a liberal front, which is why we have to go find a conservative source. And they will go to Google plus 12 on the page search. 26. And then they will say, oh, well, here's one.
Don't let them find out that their milk is
homogenized.
Lose that tail. So you've been feeding my child
homogenized
gay milk.
Gay milk.
Yep.
Because apparently
it's all part of the liberal agenda.
All that wokeness.
And the funny thing about it is we're laughing because we know the truth. But I guarantee you, from the people who brought you the argument on M&Ms, I guarantee you they would. They literally would bring up gay milk.
Minnie Mouse wore pants and they thought they was going to lose their mind. I'm like, y'all good at distracting people. But you darn if you do, if you darn if you don't. If you don't address it, they're just going to keep doing it. You can't just ignore them because they're not going to go away. So how do you effectively address them?
Well, there's 2 ways that I think. First way is you have to decide what is it that you actually want. Okay, so if you want to defeat them, then you have to stop trying to. You have to stop trying to make them your friend. The problem isn't them. The problem is us. Okay, we keep trying to make these people our friends. We keep thinking that we can find a way to live peacefully with them or maybe we can just push them back into the shadows or something like that. You can't. They have to be defeated. You have to decide, I will fight you. No matter what your position is, no matter what you're saying, I am going to fight you until you are defeated, until you are crying, begging for mercy, and then I'll let you live. Right? And I don't mean that in the violent sense. Now, we don't do something about it, we're going to end up in that position. But what I'm saying is you have to be willing to actually fight back. And the problem is and I know you were being facetious, but when we say, well, I refuse to believe this, I refuse for this to be the truth, I refuse this to be the case, there are a lot of people who legitimately feel that way.
Yeah.
And so we lose because we keep wanting to live in the version of reality that is more appealing to us, because the alternative is to know you actually are going to have to, fight these people. Or the other option is you just hope they just grow out of it. And
but
you
some of
just
them are
think,
80 and
well,
90 years old. They not growing out of
But
nothing.
that's
I
still
agree. I think it's a silly
you
position,
missed
but
a
I think
point,
that's the
though.
other option.
You did miss a point, though, of a fight that people have. And that's a losing battle. But I'll tell you why, because there's a loophole to it. The other reason why you try to fight is to try to change these people's minds. You have maybe a 1% chance of actually doing that. And I'm being nice giving you the 1%, because we don't know how far down the rabbit hole these people are. Like, literally.
But my point is that you shouldn't be trying to change their mind.
No,
because
absolutely not.
But
my argument has always been, but there is somebody out there who is on the fence and they're getting contradicting information, and they do have the mindset to use their head and go, you know what? Your argument makes a lot more sense than their argument. So I will go your direction compared to their direction. But the only way they're going to go to your direction is to actually say something. So no, when I argue on this show, I'm not talking to these people. I trust me. I'm not going to change their mind. Believe me, I know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. When I argue online, I know I'm not changing their mind. But I always think somebody else who is watching will see this. And
that's a good point. That's an excellent point. And there is, speaking out of both sides of, oh goodness, flash flood warning in my area. That means my house is probably flooding as we speak. But but it's a good point being made there, and talking out of both sides of my mouth here, because both are true. You have to give people room to be wrong and get right. And you also have to not try to convert them in the middle of a fight. Right? So my personal feeling is you have to go select your battles. Don't just fight any and everybody, right? But when you decide that you're going to engage, have no mercy. Be strategic, right? So like my style is usually not very confrontational, because what I'm trying to do is get in your head so that you end up doing thought processes and stuff that I will never be privy to. I just want to prick you so you have to go do it, right? So, but at the same time, I'm coming at you mercilessly. I want to cause psychic damage to you. I want you get into the wrong conversation with me, I'm going to have you questioning your religion. I'm going to have you questioning your mama and your daddy. I'm going to have you questioning everything about your race. I'm going to have you looking at your wife sideways. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to rip everything inside of you apart if I'm trying to fight you like that. But that's while we're fighting. If, as the fight winds down, you're like, all right, look, like a boxing metaphor, I done knocked you out, or you so beat up that they got to stop the fight, or whatever it is, that is when mercy comes in. That is when I don't try to destroy you. that is when it's okay. Are you done now? Can we work together? Can we build from here? If your answer is still no, then I'm going to put you out your misery. And I believe that people need to be willing to go that far. You have to be willing to fight until the fight is done, and then see, is there a way for us to grow together from there? And if there's not, you got to put that thing down. And right now, people aren't there. Right now, people are trying to make friends in the middle of the fight. Right now, this person is still throwing jabs, and you trying to hug them. That's crazy. But
I also will add to this too. And Diaz has his thing, I have my thing. Neither one of us is wrong. I honestly pick and choose my battles because I'm too exhausted to try to fight every freaking fight. When I am not fit to fight with somebody like when we did the whole conservative insult sounds like compliment whole thing. Ha 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 ha! Y'all really don't know, do you? Dude, do you really think I'm gonna get into a conversation with you when that's not even a complete sentence? No, I'm not. I don't care. And to be honest with you, because let's be realistic, I know it pisses them off. That's my own personal thing. I know not being confrontational and not holding a conversation with people like that pissed them off more than if you actually did. But I also know holding a conversation with people like that is not going to go anywhere because you gave an anecdotal response. You people don't know. Who is you people? What is it that we don't know? I'm not going to ask. You're not going to give me a statement where I have to ask you 2 questions back. So you're not coming in good faith, and I'm not going to waste my time. Nor do I know the ones where they sit there and go, and do you know about such and such and such and such? And did you look up such and such? Oh, I'm sorry. I made a statement. Now you want me to do homework? I'm not going to do that either. I said a statement, which I do the best to do research on before I open my big mouth and tell a bunch of people. These videos that we put out is seen by, and I'm not putting anybody down. I love taking what I get. I get it. So before I say something, these live shows that we got, the most people that we saw come in live was 10 people. That's the most we had live. However, the replays wind up being in the thousands. So yeah, anything that comes out of my mouth, I have to make sure I'm either absolutely correct on or at least 99% correct on. I expect the same from you before you respond to me. And if you don't, I'm not responding to you because I'm not going to do your homework. That's just not happening. So that's where I come from. Diz has this thing about knock people out when they don't respond. My deal is I don't even get into the freaking fight with you, and I'll let you just sit there and sob in the rain, wondering why you won't talk to me, because I don't have no time for you. I just don't.
But remember, I said in the beginning, you got to choose your battle.
Oh, you did.
You don't do that with everybody. You can't do that with everybody, right? Somebody who's not having a good faith conversation with you, you're wasting your time to even get into it. I mean, if your whole mission is just to upset me, then no matter what we do, only one of us has any chance of getting anywhere here. Like, your whole mission was to upset me. So now I'm getting into an argument just so you can upset me? No, come on, let's not do that. But if you want to have a real,
I have to cut you off really quick because I have to make.
No, go for it. I'm done.
I have to make this announcement. We are 2 away from our first 100 subscribers. We picked up somebody else during this. This is what I mean. Keep punching. This is what we do. Well, I literally sit here and say, when I get on Diaz and Anna and Tracy, maybe I should change my maybe I should not do. Maybe I need. No!
So now
We're
you just gonna
bringing
insult us, bro.
people
That
from
what
the
you want
way
to
we're acting, and you seriously want to. Now we should change? Why? Why would we change what is working? Why? That doesn't even make any sense.
Maybe some adjustments make it work better.
No.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, exactly. No.
That'd be like me cutting out interviews, and I know that's the thing I do best. I'll be like, no more interviews for me. That's it. I'm done.
Right. That would be a bad. That would be a bad change.
I have gotten comments on each and every one of you on here. And it always boils down to, at the very end, a little Karen, they need to be fired mentality.
Oh, who are these people so I can talk to them?
And at the very end, no, because I tell you what my answer to every last one of them is. And they go into deep understanding and philosophical and this and broadcasting, and I got my GPA and broadcasting and journalism and everything, and such don't need to be on the show because of blah, blah, blah. And you know exactly how I answer them, Tracy? No.
I just want to talk to them.
I don't want to talk to them. I did. I said no. I'm not changing nothing on my show. First of all, this is a personal thing on me. This is personal for me. Do not come into something that I worked hard to build and try to change it from your side of the monitor. This is not going to work out good for you. It is just not going to work out good for you. I literally take it as an insult. I'm not 100% knowing what I'm doing, but I got the common sense that my mom always say, if you don't have anything else in life, son, have common sense. And my common sense say, if I got 100 people and growing from the people that is on this panel, why would I change it? And this, I'll even meet you halfway with what you're saying, that I'm putting out more content with us so more people are watching. Well, guess what? The content that I'm putting out more for is still the four of us. It's still the four of us. It's not a content of just me. It's not a content of me and Theas. It's not a content of me and Anna. It's not a content of me and Tracy. If you look at the videos that I'm putting out, it's all four of us. More people are seeing all four of us. Why would I change that?
I just want to talk to them. That's all.
Tracy, I'll let you talk to them people as soon as you let me talk to the old boy that I've been asking you to talk to. Okay, then. So let's move on.
I gave you his email address.
Did I use it?
That's on you. I think you did send both of y'all in the same email. That's on y'all. It has nothing to do with me. I did my job.
There are some who don't argue with. I just LMFO at them and tell them that I love having battles of the wit.
And people get real punk behind the keyboard.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute, Tracy. Again, viewer discretion advised. Mickey has been in Facebook jail longer than she's been out. So viewer discretion advised for anything of Mickey said when it comes to argument on Facebook. It's great. It sounds wonderful. Cuss about whatever. Just no. I'm gonna say it. Don't take Mickey's advice, please.
Just scroll past it. You don't.
You
don't have to read stuff on Facebook.
Well, if you decide to strike your stream down like last night, you gotta have to change things. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry, I will. This the 131 votes.
Why we gotta do this? Why do we have to do this?
Mr. 131. The 131.
Hey, 133 votes is better than none.
I agree. That's why I said, man, I respect that. I respect the mess out of that. I pick on them for other things. But as far as What he did, I give him mad
I'm
props
really
for that.
trying.
Hold on. Tracy, I'm finna get on you. I'm literally finna jump on you. I'm not even gonna talk about that dude. Was you not your favorite video? Bar none. Was your favorite video was you got 0%? I got 1%. What are you
Yes,
talking
because he was so brazen. He was proud of his 1%. Just like old boy should be proud of his 131 votes. Same principle.
He has a lot of friends. But I'm not
I think he really should be. He should be very proud of that.
I literally did say.
And he has indicated that he's gonna. Oh, never mind. Shut up, Tracy.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
It's already too late. Now we know he's gonna try to run for it again. Nah, man.
Oh Lord, no.
No, man.
I did say if he gets 3%, it would.
But he did not get 3%.
No, I did say if he gets 3%, I would probably need to be paid close attention to. If he got 3%, yes. I did say that. If he get 3% votes, that's a stature for somebody that's up and coming or well known, however you want to put it. But that's a stature.
Well, all I know is it takes a lot to do what he did. But that's as far as my congratulations can go, because if the policies that you have are stupid or ill-informed or detrimental to other people, I would rather you not have that bravery to go and run. Because that's part of the problem we got right now. We got a lot of people who are brave enough to go and run, and they're doing horrible things across the country. So
thank you, Parker. I just want to thank you, Parker, for that.
But I didn't talk about him though.
We can't hear you. We really can't hear you. I'm not trying to be funny. We can't.
You literally cannot hear me.
I could not hear what
I didn't hear nothing you said. If
thank
you.
you.
Said
It wasn't just me.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yeah.
You know what? I kind of think when I start playing background music, the first seconds mutes me. And that shouldn't happen. So, okay. Tracy, tell everybody where they can find you.
This site right here, TracyMediaLLC.com.
Anna? Anna is going to crash like she's never crashed before. This?
And I hope you feel better. You can find me ComplexSimpleMind.com. You can find me at Complex Mind Simple Man on Facebook and YouTube.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, please be alerted that there will not be any shows next week. We will be returning the week before, and I guess because I said that, my light turned off, so that tells you that I'm not going to be on next week. So until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace. It's nice to have 131 friends, though. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
131
Thank you,
family.
Thank you, everybody who is supporting the channel. We appreciate you. Ted Cruz.